right, welcome to the K-Files, and I have my buddy, my sidekick back with me this morning. So glad you're here, JP. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I'm glad to be back.
You know, when you've been on a while, people get used to you, and it was kind of funny. I was going to tell you, it's kind of funny how people ask me about you. Well, where is JP? Where is JP? I had several people ask me. I said, oh, you're paying attention. That's good, you know. So anyway, I do want to let you know you were missed by the audience and by us as well. But anyway, we're back in place. You know, holidays are always crazy. So we did a pre-tape last week and I do appreciate Lieutenant Sherrod coming and filling in and helping us out. Several things we want to talk about, and one thing I want to talk about is, and yes, as promised, we're going to talk about the highway patrol situation, but a case that, JP, we have talked about several times. The guy was from Greensboro, and we couldn't figure out why he was in a field in Castalia. Mm-hmm. And it has taken a while because it was, I believe, October of 2020. But anyway, we went over this a little bit, Lieutenant Sherrod and I. But on October 28th, the Nash County Sheriff's Office was called to the end of Sumler Road, Castalia, where human remains were located by a citizen. The remains were determined to be that of Jaleel Evans. He was a deceased. Black male, 30 years old, reported missing on October 8, 2020. That's how long it's been. It's been a year, more than a year, 13, 14 months. Missing from Greensboro. His mother called in a missing person report on him. And through this investigation, probable cause has been established to charge Miquan battle. There we go. Brittany's on the ball. Put it back up again, Brittany.
Jaleel. Let me get Miquan.
Okay, that was Jaleel. He was the deceased. Miquan battle is charged with first-degree murder on December 21st, 2021. This came about right at Christmas. So, that has been solved. That they know, and of course all this is alleged until his first appearance was last Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Had his first appearance, and from what I'm understanding, Lieutenant Sherrod brought the investigator that's investigating the case with Nash County, the actual guy. What's his last name? Can't think of his name. Such a nice guy. But anyway, brought him the investigator, and the investigator alluded to the fact that, well, there might be others.
I'm sure.
There might be others. This might have been a team effort. Mm-hmm. So it's still under investigation, so he couldn't tell us a whole lot. But he said, I will tell you more as, you know, they've got to get a court date, and he has to go to court, you know, all that has to play out. So we'll learn about this. Because I asked him, I said, why was he in Castalia, all the way from Greensboro? He said, I can't tell you that, or why we think so anyway. So
because it involves other people.
Yes, because it does, and they're still looking for others. Mm-hmm. And so, but a farmer found him. Bless the farmers and the ATV riders and all of these folks that go in the woods. I mean, because they have found so many bodies that way. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so at least one is in jail. So this was not really a K-file case, but it's one that the K-files have talked about so much. The tip was not called in through the K-files, but it's one that, as Jeff Sherrod said, it's been visited on the K-files many times. So we'll keep you posted as we get information on that case, but they have
that's good police work.
Yes, very good police work. And Officer Truel.
Okay.
Do you know him?
I do not.
Jaleel. He's a young guy, and he has been, I think he's been with Nash County, though, about 10 years, 10, 12, 13 years, and worked his way up to investigator. So, anyway, sadly, I'm going to let you talk about this one. You were a retired
Yeah, I retired with
Highway Patrol.
about 2 years ago. And as you know, a couple of days ago, we had a trooper killed in Rutherford County. Trooper John Horton was involved. He had a suspect detained on the side of the road. He was calling for assistance. His brother, who is also a trooper, James Horton, heard the call. He responded, and actually what I wanted to do, if you don't mind, I'd love to read you the official Highway Patrol press release.
Yeah, I'm glad you've got the press release. Yes, that would be great. But this, I think about this, and a brother, I mean, just bothers me so much.
Beautiful family, young family. He has, he's leaving behind 6 children. But here it goes. This is from the North Carolina State Highway Patrol, Rutherford County. A preliminary investigation has revealed that on Monday, January 3rd, at approximately 9:00 p.m., a member of the North Carolina State Highway Patrol was struck by a responding trooper during a traffic stop at High Shoals Church Road and Goods Grove Church Road. Trooper James N. Horton was responding to assist with a traffic stop being conducted by Trooper John S. Horton when Trooper James Horton lost control of his patrol vehicle approaching the traffic stop. Trooper James Horton collided with the stationary patrol vehicle and subsequently struck Trooper John Horton and the detained driver who were standing alongside the road. Trooper John Horton, a 15-year trooper assigned to Rutherford County, was transported to Spartanburg Hospital where he died of his injuries. The detained driver, who was yet to be identified, was pronounced dead at the scene. Trooper James Horton was taken to a local hospital for minor injuries and has since been released. The 2 involved troopers are brothers. He goes on to say that the Highway Patrol is, distraught. We're upset. We're sad. These words were from Colonel Freddie Johnson. For all involved, this tragic event, the coming days will be undoubtedly difficult, but we are committed to stand alongside with them with our thoughts and prayers and unwavering support. In this particular situation, the way this will go, and I'm sure they've already done it within hours, you had the Highway Patrol recon team, reconstruction team were on scene, reconstructing the crash itself.
Yes.
They'll take those facts. The SBI, no doubt in my mind, they're involved.
Yes.
And that's just typical protocol. Anytime there is a death that has occurred as a result of a member of the Highway Patrol.
Yes.
And it's just a.
And that is so.
It is just a sad.
It is very
and
sad.
terrible situation.
I mean, officers call for backup all the time.
Yeah.
You feel like you need backup, you call. Well, his brother is on the same beat, so to speak. His brother works the same area, evidently, and heard the call, and he responded.
He probably heard a tone in his brother's voice.
Yeah.
Something, he's like, something's not right. I need to go.
Oh.
And it's just an accident. Just a bad situation.
Yeah. I think on the news I saw a guardrail in the picture of the location, but we don't know. This is all speculation, but the road could have been a little bit of ice. Where's Rutherford County?
Troop G. So that is the western part of the state.
Yeah, it's going to be in the mountains where they get snow and ice, and it's cold. So there could have been who knows, ice on the road, and he just
And that's pretty
lost
much
control.
what I've heard as well.
Yeah, just lost control. So anyway, I had been so bothered by this particular situation. So anyway.
There is a GoFundMe page that they've set up online. I believe they have raised close to $75,000 or $100,000 for this young family
Really?
since Monday. So there's been an
Wonderful.
outpouring of support for his young wife and family in the past 48, 72 hours.
Wow. Well, my hearts go out to all of them, the families of all three, and to the brother that did this. I can only imagine what he's living with. So, anyway, wanted to bring that up this morning, and I know a lot of you have seen it on Facebook, and so just wanted to bring it up and just kind of bring that to light a little bit this morning. Okay, we'll go ahead and take our first break before we get into something else, and we'll be right back.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
Okay, welcome back. Well, we've talked a little bit about Case in Castalia, and we talked about the Highway Patrol. So now we're going to go to our book and talk about a case that we have not talked about at all. Roger Wade Askew, September of 2009, so that's a bit old, about 12 years. Roger Wade Askew Kojak is the brother of Kimberly Hancock, who was charged in the murder of Debbie Deans, who went missing 15 years ago. I remember when Debbie Deans went missing. After a tip to fighting crime, Debbie Deans' body was found behind the residence of Kimberly K. Privet Hancock in a shallow grave among trash and debris back in October 2019. So that's pretty recent when she was found. Hancock was charged with first-degree murder the same day. Hancock was also arrested in 1989 and charged with manslaughter after killing her father. That's pretty bad. He was shot in the face while he slept. She spent less than a year in prison for that crime, and she claimed that her father abused her. There has been much speculation around the disappearance of Roger Wade Askew Kojak since Hancock's arrest. Many have stated that Kojak knew about his sister killing Debbie Deans, and she feared he would tell authorities, so she then killed Kojak. That's speculation. There has also been speculation that his body is buried under a cement slab somewhere in Franklin or Nash County. There has been no hard evidence of either stories. Someone knows what happened to Kojak. All we need is a little more information so that the family can have peace and justice. The disappearance of Roger Askew is a Franklin County case. So we don't talk a lot about Franklin County, so this is good to get to talk about Franklin County this morning. Kojak was his nickname, and his real name was Roger Askew. Franklin County.
There's a lot of drug, B&E, a lot of criminal activity in the area of Nash County where it comes into Franklin County.
It sure is, isn't it?
It is. It's something that the sheriff and the prior sheriffs have worked on for years. It's just a bad area.
Yes, it is. And this is a very confusing case.
It is.
You have to follow it. I remember Debbie Deans. I remember that case. But anyway, so Roger Wade, Kojak, Roger Wade, Askew, still missing.
I believe the body was found in that same area, like it says a year or two ago, in that same little vicinity where this criminal activity is just prevalent. So the odds are of him being in that area under a slight, I could believe it.
That's probably why they think that.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how people bury bodies, and how, if they bury bodies, how in the world are you ever going to find them? I would, I hate to say it this way, but that's the ultimate way to get rid of somebody. I mean, to me, who's going to find that?
Yeah.
Unless you got a dog. The dogs. I mean, but you got to know the area. You got to know. I don't know. That's just.
That or a crematory.
Yeah. And what was the case? Linda talked about a case with a crematory one time, and that was just as eerie as it could be at a funeral home. That a case, I can't remember what it was. I'll have to call him because I'd like to bring that back up.
What was the guy's name here in Rocky Mount? His name escapes me. He went to prison. He's deceased now. He was involved in killing his wife Julie.
Oh yeah, Mark.
Okay, Mark, and some of the testimony and different pieces of evidence that was brought up, he had made threats to people that he would put them in every salt and pepper shaker in Nash County, basically insinuating that he would cremate them and put them in a salt and pepper shaker.
Tough.
But
it's tough.
Murder's been around a long time.
Imagine how many people that's happened to, though.
It's
have
happened.
Been put in
It's happened.
I know people have been put in a crematory. I mean, it's had to have happened. That's just wild. But anyway, if anybody knows anything about Kojak, is probably how most people knew him. If you know in anybody in the Castalia area, Franklin County area, if you know anything, please call 406-6736. And I will say there is a $15,000 reward out there, up to $15,000. They, of course, it depends on how important your tip is, but we say every time your tip is very important. No tip is too small. So.
And law enforcement needs all the help they can get.
Yes, they do.
Not
they
just
really
here, but
do.
everywhere.
Citizens solve more crimes than law enforcement.
That's right.
Because everybody knows something. Yeah.
The smallest little tip could solve a crime that Nash County, Rocky Mount, Edgecombe has been trying to solve for 20 years, 10 years, 5 years.
Right. So, anyway, if you know anything, please call, please, and give this family, Kojak, some justice and
some closure
peace.
for that family. Yeah.
Yes. I want to talk about the Jalesa. I remember this case. Linda was real passionate about this case. This was the girl in Scotland Neck, if y'all remember. Nobody has seen or heard from Jalesa Reynolds since she went to the library in Scotland Neck. And on February 22nd, 2010, she logged off of her Facebook. I think she went to the library to use a computer. A lot of people do. She logged off her Facebook account about lunchtime. At 1:40 p.m., she logged in again from a home computer along Cemetery Road. Reynolds didn't have a home computer, and friends say she would go to the library almost every day to use the internet and Facebook. Jalesa was normally shy, but was more outgoing to people she met online. A massive search was conducted, and several other searches have been conducted over the years. Agencies and volunteers from across the state were involved in these searches and turned up empty-handed. Can you imagine? I mean, the girl goes to the library to get on the computer. Did somebody lure her away? I mean, there you go.
This is what it sounds like to me.
Careful how you let your, and see, she's young, she's impressionable, you know, and
it sounds like to me she met someone possibly at the library.
Yeah, and they said, meet me so-and-so.
And apparently she went with them to a location somewhere on Cemetery Road. It's amazing to me that we have the technology to know, to pinpoint a particular given area along a given road, to know that she signed in to Facebook on that road. Why not? It looks like to me if we have that technology, they should be able to pinpoint a particular residence or a particular computer.
Yes. Well, I remember, as I said, Linda was really, really passionate about this case, and so I did want to bring it back up.
She met the wrong person.
She did meet the wrong person. You've got to be careful, people.
Yeah.
And we do want to put out information like this on this show. This is one of the other, I think, very good things that we use this show for. You know, we gave tips last week of shopping and all kinds of things with Jeff Sherrod. So be careful. Don't let your children, and know what your children are doing on the computer. I know they're going to go on the computer. They're normal. They're going to go on a computer this day and time. But you got to know what they're doing. There's nothing wrong with you checking behind them to see what sites they visited. Is there anything wrong with that?
No. My kids will tell you right now, they're 19, 18, and 12. I go in their room, I search their room, I search their car. I mean, they have some privacy, but they're subject to a search at any given time.
Right. You've got to. You've got to know what
It's parenting.
It's parenting. That's exactly right.
And I've got three good kids that have given me absolutely no reason to. But it's just the way I was raised.
Right. Right. That's exactly right. But, you know, this girl, in my mind, I only can think the worst because she hasn't turned up in all this time. I mean, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And she hasn't turned up. But if anybody knows anything about this case, in the Scotland Neck area, if anybody knows anything about this case, and this show is also online, so hopefully somebody might see it. But if you know anything, please call the number and please give her family, because I can only imagine that her family has been going crazy ever since this time. So
Not knowing.
Just the not knowing is just night after night, sleepless nights of not knowing where your child is, all the way from February 22nd, 2010.
It would kill me.
Yeah, that's just a long time. So anyway, hopefully somebody will know something about Jalesa Reynolds that went missing on February 22nd, 2010. All right, we'll start talking about Shonda Renee Stansberry. This is a long one. Approximately 6 a.m., 24-year-old Shonda Renee Stansberry arrived at a Waffle House in Roanoke Rapids. We're all over the map today, which is good. We don't want to just focus on one area. We're trying to, we did Franklin County case, Scotland Neck case, and now we're in Roanoke Rapids. Approximately 6 a.m., 24-year-old Shonda Renee Stansberry arrived at a Waffle House in Roanoke Rapids near Interstate 95, which Roanoke Rapids does sit on 95, where her sister worked. Shonda appeared to have been beaten with bruises that covered her face and legs, and there was a swollen knot on her temple. Shonda got a ride with a customer who was well known to her and taken to West Side Trailer Court in Roanoke Rapids. Although she lived with friends, Shonda was dropped off, was never heard from again. Shonda's mother, Gloria, filed a missing person report on December 14, 2006 at approximately 10:15 a.m. She was concerned because Shonda would contact her on a daily basis, and she had not heard from her in several days. The same day her mother took out the missing person report, a woman contacted 911 at approximately 11:28 p.m. to report that she saw two men chasing a woman who had no clothes on and was screaming for help. The caller believed it was Shonda. Wow. She stated that she was being chased behind a convenience store near the woods off of Highway 158. Investigators eventually traced the call and located the witness a couple of days later. The witness advised detectives that she was familiar with Shonda and was certain it was her. Again, she advised that she had no clothes on and had blood dripping from her mouth and was screaming for help.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Isn't that awful? The witness was scared to stop, so she waited until she got home to call police.
And it was probably a good thing.
I'd have been scared to stop. The witness described the two men as black males. The first man was between the ages of 28 and 32, would be between 42 and 46 now, because it has been a while, 2006. Stood approximately 5'8" in height, had large muscular arms and a stocky build, and had a dark complexion. He was allegedly wearing denim jeans, a white t-shirt, and baseball cap. It's likely that he may have been bald. The other man was described as having a light complexion, stood approximately 5'6" in height, had a medium build, and dreadlocks. He was said to be wearing Timberland boots, jeans with patches on them, and a light brown, oversized button-down shirt. Investigators questioned the convenience store employees, and they advised that they never heard anything. They also investigated the area and found no prints, disturbed brush, or evidence that Shonda was there. In January of 2008, over a year after her disappearance, several people reported that they saw Shonda in Wilson. Wow. Some claimed to have confronted her, but Shonda never contacted her family as they had told her to. Investigators searched in Wilson, I guess to no avail. So Shonda Renee Stansberry, 2006. She's not been seen, found. It's amazing to me the cases that the people just are gone.
Disappear.
They just disappear. I mean, it's just, you don't have a body, you don't have anything.
You know, I think about Myrtle Beach. More children disappear from Myrtle Beach than probably anywhere else in the United States. Young.
Really?
Female. Yes. Yes. But you know, they have a small airport there. I've always had a theory that I think these people fly in from all over the world, mega rich, and they say, I'll take her.
Okay.
You know, there's no security per se at this airport. It's a small airport like Rocky Mount Wilson.
Right.
You walk in, they take this child, they take these young girls, they put them on an airplane, and you never see or hear from them again. They disappear off the face of the earth.
Wow.
Sex trade. This situation right here, and it doesn't have to be international. I mean, it could be local. You stop and think about how many people have been recovered just in the past year in the United States, living in somebody's cellar, living in somebody's outbuilding. They were kidnapped and used exclusively for, you know.
Yeah, what was that, Elizabeth? What was her name?
Smart.
I mean, that poor girl lived through absolutely, you know, she'll never be right again.
A terrible situation.
I mean, things like that where
used.
you're held in an attic and you're raped and you're beaten,
It can happen
years?
anywhere. It can happen anywhere. And she just happened to manage to escape and get on the phone and call someone for help.
Gosh, people are just sick. I mean, they really are. There are so many
And I'm not saying that's
sickos.
what happened here, but, you know, clearly two men were after her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Based on eyewitness testimony.
Well, it's just a bad situation.
It is.
Just terrible for anybody to be treated the way she was treated. And the witness was almost absent. She said she knew her, and she was sure it was her, but she was scared, so she didn't stop. She kept going and went home and called the authorities, of course. But so she was sure it was her, and it probably was her, with no clothes on, running with her mouth bleeding, and she'd already been beat when she got to the Waffle House. She had bruises all over her when she went to see her sister at the Waffle House. So the poor girl was getting treated very badly. So, well, with that, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
Okay, well, so again, we want to talk about a little bit about the K-Files. We do have a board, teen cold case, that does, we do pay out, but we all vote, we look at the case, we assess the case before we pay out, and it is upon arrest, folks. Now, a lot of reward money is upon conviction. Well, we all know the court system, it has to play out. I mean, you've got defense attorneys that need time to prepare cases, and that takes a year or two in a murder case. So, and people are not going to call in tips and wait 2 or 3 years. And
That's right.
It's just not going to happen that way, and we know that. We really do want to solve cases here. That's what we're all about. So, with that being said, we decided to do upon arrest instead of conviction. So when that person has been arrested, and there's been a tip called in, and that tip was valuable to law enforcement in making that arrest, then we certainly do pay out, and fast.
How many people are on the board?
We have now, I think, 11.
Okay.
11 board members. You want an odd number because, of voting purposes, but we have 11 good, solid board members, and we are very proud of what we do with cases. And we decided also, after we got into this, sometimes you live and learn. I mean, as you go along, we're new at this. We developed this, of course, to solve crime, help with law enforcement, help assist law enforcement in solving crimes. But we learned that, as you go along, we needed to do hot and now. We called it hot and now. There are cases that people are interested in that happen right now. And they're not just, we said we're going to do unsolved murders at the beginning. Well, some of these murders, as you see in the book, are from 2001, 2008, 2010. Some are current. But we also want to talk about current cases. The Castalia case, pretty current. I mean, only a year or so ago. So we decided to do hot now. Even a case that happened last week, we want to talk about it. So, we talked about the Highway Patrol case. That was not a murder, but it was something of interest to the public. So we do talk more about now, more than just unsolved murders, which we are very interested in getting some of these murders solved. I will get the numbers for you this week. I want to see how many cases Rocky Mount has, how many official cases Edgecombe County has, and I want to see how many Nash has. I believe Lieutenant Sherrod told me they have one case, and then one is a missing person. They're considering Travis Lynch a missing person, not that's not in the category of unsolved murder. So I wish they could get the Randy Colgrove case solved. I really do. I really do wish that they could do that. But anyway, so that's what Team Cold Case is all about. That's the board that oversees the money for this.
And you need to concentrate some on hot and now, because stop and think, what if you take somebody into custody from a hot and now case and come to find out they get pressed, or during an interview you realize there's one or two cases in this book that they played a direct or an indirect role in.
Absolutely.
So you should be involved in hot and now cases.
Yeah, what do they say? A lot of times they repeat offenders.
Yes, exactly right. That's right.
So you never know. You really never know. So anyway, we'll do one quick case. Well, we were talking about Shonda Renee Stansberry. Well, we'll talk a little bit more. We don't have a lot of time. Talk a little bit more about this case. I basically read it. So kind of go back. As we just said, she was 24 years old, went to the Waffle House to see her sister, and she had been beaten, and then here she is. A witness sees her. Well, she went back to West Side Trailer Court in Roanoke Rapids, and she lived with friends. She was dropped off, never heard from again. Shonda's mother, Gloria, filed a missing person report. The same day her mother took out the missing person report, a woman contacted 911, or 911, I'm so used to saying 911, 911 at approximately 11:26 p.m. to report that she saw two men chasing a woman who had no clothes on and screaming for help, and she was pretty sure that this was Shonda. And Shonda's never been heard from. So she said she was being chased behind a convenience store near the woods off of Highway 158. I know where Highway 158 is, you do. So anyway, if anybody knows anything about Shonda Stansberry, please let us know. Please call 406-6736. You can call the 977-1111. That's Crime Stoppers. You can do that. Or you can call the Roanoke Rapids Police Department, or Halifax County, I guess it would be Halifax County Sheriff's Office.
In reading it, I have so many questions. I would want to talk to her friends and family and say, look, who were her last 5 relationships? I would go talk to these men. This convenience store, where were the outside cameras? Were they operational? Okay, based on what the witness is saying, most convenience stores have outside cameras. Okay, they went within a day or two. What did the cameras show? There's just a lot of unanswered questions in this narrative here.
It is. It really is.
Just odd.
It is. And there's a lot of sex trafficking going on, and not to say that that's what this is, speculation, we're allowed to do that, but there is so much sex trafficking going on. And I asked the sheriff some time back, and I just didn't get back with him yet, but I will revisit that because he's perfectly willing to come. We have this in our area, believe it or not. People say, oh, well, you don't hear about that here.
It's everywhere.
You might not hear about it here, but it's here. I mean, and I, not to really get off the beaten path, but I just believe some of these panhandlers are part of a group, and they're dropped off. They're part of an organization like that, like belonging to, I don't know, a group of something, and they are dropped off to make money that day, and they're assigned to an area. I just have this theory, and it's probably crazy, but I have a theory about that. I don't know.
It's believable.
I don't know. I just thought that, and I asked the sheriff about it. I said, now listen, you're going to think I'm crazy, but he said, you might have a point.
You might, yeah.
He said, you might have a point. But same way with these, traffickers, they have these women, and because there's a lot of women panhandlers now on Bienvenue Road. There's a girl out there all the time, and then you look and there's another one, a different one, at the same location, and you think, what happened to the other one? And so, I don't know, not to say that that's related to sex trafficking, but there's organizations, in communities, and so we'll talk more about sex trafficking, because it's a shame that people get caught up in this. Do they just get caught up in it, or are they kidnapped, or are they what?
A few years ago, we had a Highway Patrol convention in Charlotte, and we had a young lady come and speak. And when she began speaking, I was quick to realize that she had been abducted at a truck stop by a truck driver. She had got involved in, they actually trade. These particular truck drivers would go across country and trade off different women for sex, and against their will. And I mean, we stop trucks every day with female passengers. It had never dawned on me to maybe separate a female passenger and say, how is everything today?
Yeah.
Is everything okay? How do you know this driver? Kind of just give her that opportunity for her to come forward and say, help me. And it goes on more so than you would ever know. It's everywhere.
Yeah, that is something that we probably might ought to address it, human trafficking, on this program. Might have the sheriff on this show. Because how many of these cases that we talk about involve that, and we just don't know it.
Very possible, that's right.
We don't know it. This might be one right here. So I might do that. I might have the sheriff on this show to talk about it on the K-Files. So, all right. Well, JP, glad to have you back.
Glad to be back.
Some good information this morning. We put out a lot of cases today. We usually do 2 or 3, but we did a little bit more today. The more we can put out there, the more it is for people to think about. And hopefully call that number on the screen, 406-6736. Please know that it's anonymous. I will not know. JP will not know. We're not going to know. Only law enforcement will know. And you will be rewarded for your tip. So please call about any of these cases you see. And if you feel like somebody might know something and you want to see this show again, it comes on Friday night at 7 o'clock. Also, it's online. It's on YouTube. Anywhere. It's out there on the computer. Get your computer, show it to somebody if you feel like they might know something. It's very important. So we thank you for that. Thank you, JP.
And if you know something, say something.
Say something.
If you see something, say something.
Exactly right. We'll see you next week on the K-Files.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.